what sparked one of the most defining moments in English history. The English Reformation was not just about religion. It was a revolution that altered the very fabric of the nation, affecting politics, society, and culture for centuries to come. From royal ambition to religious fervor, England's break from the Catholic Church reshaped its identity and established the Church of England. Join us as we uncover the driving forces, key players, and lasting impacts of this transformative period. This journey will take you through monarchs, martyrs, and movements that created the foundation for modern Britain. 1. The Seeds of Reformation. Prelude to change. Before the 16th century, the Catholic Church was deeply entrenched in English life, holding both religious and political power. However, growing dissatisfaction within the church paved the way for reform. Clergy corruption, the sale of indulgences, and the church's immense wealth led to increasing calls for change from scholars and commoners alike. Figures like John Wycliffe and the Lollards, who criticized the church in the 14th century, planted the early seeds of reform. Additionally, the Protestant Reformation in Europe, led by Martin Luther, was spreading like wildfire. These external and internal pressures created a ripe environment for England to embark on its own path of religious transformation, setting the stage for momentous changes. 2. Henry VI, the King and his great matter. Henry VI's quest for an heir was the pivotal spark that ignited England's Reformation. When Pope Clement V refused to annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon, Henry's frustration turned into defiance. His desire for a male successor to secure the Tudor dynasty drove him to break from the Catholic Church. However, Henry's decision was not just personal, it was deeply political. By passing the Act of Supremacy in 1534, Henry declared himself the supreme head of the Church of England, thereby consolidating both religious and royal power. The break with Rome allowed Henry to control church lands and wealth, reinforcing his authority and setting England on a distinct religious path. 3. Religious transformation. A new church, a new faith. The early Church of England was far from the Protestant institution we know today. In its infancy, it resembled the Catholic Church in many ways, with only subtle changes in practice. The dissolution of the monasteries between 1536 and 1541 was one of the first major shifts, both financially and symbolically, as it dismantled centuries of monastic tradition. While some reforms were implemented, including translating the Bible into English, much of the population continued to follow Catholic practices. England was now severed from Rome, but its religious identity was still fluid, with debates raging over what shape this new church should take. 4. Political and social ramifications. The Reformation didn't just affect religious institutions. It sent shockwaves through English society and politics. Henry VI's break from the Catholic Church led to power struggles both within and outside of England. Catholic nobility, foreign powers like Spain, and religious figures such as Sir Thomas More resisted these changes, viewing them as a threat to traditional values. Domestically, the Reformation strengthened the monarchy, making the crown the ultimate authority over both church and state. For common people, the effects were profound. Widespread changes to religious practices and land ownership sparked unrest, most notably the Pilgrimage of Grace in 1536, a major rebellion against the dissolution of the monasteries. 5. Key figures of the English Reformation. Several key figures shaped England's Reformation and its outcomes. Thomas Cranmer, the Archbishop of Canterbury, was instrumental in crafting England's Protestant theology, including the Book of Common Prayer, which remains influential today. Thomas Cromwell, Henry VI's chief minister, played a pivotal role in implementing the Reformation's political and economic changes, particularly in dissolving the monasteries. Anne Boleyn, Henry's second wife, was a significant influence in the break with Rome due to her Protestant leanings. On the other side, figures like Sir Thomas More and Bishop John Fisher stood as symbols of Catholic resistance, with both eventually executed for their opposition to Henry's reforms. 6. The reign of Edward VI, Protestant Revolution. The reign of Henry VI's son, Edward VI, marked a dramatic shift toward Protestantism. Edward, crowned at just 9 years old, was heavily influenced by Protestant advisors, most notably Archbishop Thomas Cranmer. Under Edward's rule, significant reforms were introduced, including the widespread use of the Book of Common Prayer and the establishment of a more defined Protestant doctrine. The removal of Catholic icons and changes in the liturgy sparked both enthusiasm and opposition across the kingdom. However, Edward's early death at 15 halted this radical Protestant transformation, leaving England in a precarious religious state as the next ruler, Mary I, ascended the throne. 7. Mary I, the Catholic Counter-Reformation. Mary I, known as Bloody Mary by her Protestant opponents, attempted to reverse her father's and brother's reforms by restoring Catholicism. A devout Catholic, Mary sought to re-establish the authority of the Pope and launched a campaign to eradicate Protestantism in England. Her reign saw the persecution of Protestants, with hundreds burned at the stake during the Marian persecutions. However, despite her efforts, Mary's reign was relatively short, 1553 to 1558, and her actions ultimately failed to restore Catholicism as the dominant faith in England. The religious turmoil during her reign set the stage for Elizabeth I's long and more moderate approach to England's religious settlement. 8. Elizabeth I, the settlement and lasting legacy. When Elizabeth I took the throne in 1558, she faced a divided country. Her solution, known as the Elizabethan religious settlement, was a pragmatic compromise designed to unify the kingdom under a moderate form of Protestantism. By retaining some Catholic elements in church rituals while affirming Protestant doctrines, Elizabeth created a middle way that appealed to the majority of her subjects. This settlement established the Church of England as the dominant religious institution, with the monarch as its head. Elizabeth's reign brought relative stability to England's religious landscape and set the foundation for the Church's future identity, lasting well beyond her rule. 9. The Reformation's impact on English society and culture. The English Reformation didn't just change religious practices, it also had a profound impact on English society and culture. Religious diversity began to grow, with different Protestant sects and other religious groups emerging over time. The Reformation also promoted literacy as more people sought to read the Bible in English. Educational reforms followed, with schools and universities shaping the future of England. In terms of culture, the Reformation left its mark on English art, literature, and architecture as religious themes and values began to reflect the new Protestant ethos. It set the stage for an increasingly pluralistic and educated society. 10. The global consequences of the English Reformation. The English Reformation had far-reaching consequences beyond the borders of England. As England expanded its empire, Protestant beliefs spread to the colonies in North America, the Caribbean, and elsewhere. These religious ideas helped shape the development of the British Empire and had a significant influence on the culture and politics of these colonies. On the global stage, England's break from Rome also shifted the balance of power in Europe. The country's new Protestant identity aligned it with other Reformation states, while causing tension with Catholic powers such as Spain and France, leading to conflicts like the Spanish Armada in 1588. The Reformation redefined England's identity and laid the groundwork for its future as a global power. Understanding this period is essential to understanding the evolution of modern Britain. Thanks for joining us on this journey through history. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more insightful content from Timeless Tales.